Guys, how are you? This is Jim from the Pain PT. Today we're going to talk about the power of positive thinking or optimism in your healing. We're talking about thoughts and beliefs. And thoughts and beliefs are really, really important because they're part of your brain, and your thoughts are electrical signals that create emotional chemistry, and it can also create physical symptoms. And so how we're thinking about our lives and how we're thinking about our symptoms and how we're thinking about basically everything shapes our life, shapes our chemistry, shapes our outcomes. And so we want to really learn to catch this thinking, okay, and these beliefs that are negative or faulty or not helpful. Okay, so what we know is that your thoughts are very real. They have really real implications on your life and what you draw into your life, law of attraction, and also how you feel about things, how you perceive what's going on. So, for example, most people with pain or chronic symptoms have a very negative perception of themselves, and they have negative thoughts, negative beliefs, and these are things we have to change, guys, because what happens is the negativity or the pessimism, it actually just makes things worse. It draws into our life the very thing we don't want. I'm always telling people, when you have fear and you have fearful thoughts, it's like a magnet that you draw that very thing into your life. And I've seen this in countless times. Just like when you're thinking positively, you also draw that into your life. Those things kind of come to you. I've had a few experiences of that recently where that happened to me that really just showed me again the power of our thinking. And I'll share them with you right now. So, and some of you who work with me know these stories because I shared them recently because they just happened a couple months ago. So, took some time off in June, and we had traveled throughout the U.S. here and did went to Colorado, a few states over. We drove, which was like about 10 hours, 12 hours from where we live. And we rented a house there. And we rented this house in the middle of nowhere. There was no houses for miles and miles and miles. We got what's called Airbnb, and it was a last minute reservation because stuff was all booked up. And we went there. It was a beautiful place. We stayed, and we were leaving, and we met the owner on the way out and started talking to him. And we started talking about, where we live in California and that, like to go surfing. And he says, "Oh, yeah, I like to surf too." And we go, "Okay, great." And we said, "Yeah, we like to go to Mexico and surf." He says, Yeah, I like to surf there too. And I was just down there in January and February. And that's where we were as well. And we kept talking, and we would say, "Yeah, he's like, oh, well, I was at the same place you guys were surfing." I go, "Oh, we never saw you there." Turns out we would drive down there every morning to go surfing, and we would see this camp. People were camping there. We'd see this one guy who had this makeshift camp. It was really neat. He made his own little house. He had a solar panel on it, and it looked really cool. And every time we drove down there, every morning, my wife and I would say, "God, look at that thing. That thing is really cool. Like somebody built that thing and is living in that thing." And that person was there for a month, I think over a month. Never saw the person. Well, you know what? Turns out that was the guy. This was the guy that we rented the house from in Colorado. I mean, how many millions of places could we have rented? Could we have gone? Could we have connected with? And here he is. This is the guy we wanted to meet. We didn't meet him at the beach, never saw him surfing, but here he is. We saw him in Colorado. We rented this house. Okay, so that's one thing of just this power of putting out their positivity, wanting to meet this guy. And, well, I met him, just not in the place I thought. Second example, same trip. We were back in Washington, D.C., so we flew to Washington, D.C. from the second half of our trip. And that's where my wife got COVID, unfortunately. And so we had to spend 2 extra days in a hotel because we couldn't leave. We weren't sure when we were going to be able to leave. She was not feeling great. We were testing every day. And while we were there, originally, one of the reasons going there was to connect with some friends of mine. I had a college roommate who lives there, and I hadn't reached out to him, but I was going to reach out to him when we got there to say hi or see him. And my wife got COVID, so I didn't do that. I just said, I'm going to let it be. I don't want to get him sick, or if I get sick. So I didn't call him. I didn't email him. I didn't text him, and nothing. I just said, let it go. And so turns out, we're leaving. We decided to go home 2 days later. Okay, let's get on the plane today. We think we can do it. Changed our flights. Going in the airport, busy airport in Washington, D.C., go through all the, get our tickets, and we're going now through the metal detectors to get to the gate. And sure enough, right at the next metal detector next to me, I look over, there's my friend Brian. He's right there in that moment. I couldn't believe it. There he is. I said, Brian, I'm not going to believe this. He's like, why didn't you reach out? I go, I was going to. My wife got sick. She got COVID. I said, it's great to see you. I was wanting to see you. So those two stories just represent that. And I'll share one other one of a patient. If she listened to this, she's going to chuckle because she shared with me last week a very same thing of this happening, where she had overcome chronic symptoms previously, and she shared a vision board with me that she had created at the time of positive thinking. I'm strong, I'm healthy, all these things, and images of positivity, things she wanted, how she wanted to be. And one of the pictures was of a garden that she cut out of a magazine that was on this vision board. And last week she shared with me that they were downsizing their house. They were moving to something smaller, like a bungalow. And it turns out they got this house offer accepted amongst many other offers. And unbeknownst to her, till she saw the house, was that the backyard in that house was the exact same image on her vision board. It was the same garden, the exact same garden. 7, 8, 9 years later. I might not have the years right, but basically that came to be what she put on her vision board. And so these examples, and there's many more, show how the brain and the way we think, we draw these things to us. And these are positive examples I'm giving you guys. And the same thing happens with negative examples. If your brain is fearful about things, you will draw that thing to you. You've got a friend who is very scared of being robbed and and what happened? He's been robbed many times. He locks his doors and worried about this and alarm systems. And it's like these things happen to him. So your thoughts are real. They're very real electrical signals in your brain. They influence what's going to happen to you. They influence how you feel because your thoughts create your emotions. They also can create symptoms. So guys, the moral of the story here is we need to start with positive thinking, affirmations. We need to stop and replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Catch negative thoughts when they come. Let them go. Insert a positive thought. You want to start thinking positively about what you want. Okay, how you want to be, who you want to be. As if it's happening now. You can visualize this as well. You can use visualization with positive self-talk, but everything needs to be positive. I'm going to share one other thing with you here that is put out here by this group, Lorimer Mosley and David Butler in Australia, and these are physiotherapists, and they put this stuff out. They're researchers, they're scientists, they're clinicians, and so their work is really, really good. And what they talk about here is what's called thought viruses. Thoughts and beliefs are nerve impulses in your brain. And obviously some are not helpful, like we talked about. And these thought viruses, they're powerful enough to drive your pain. They're more likely to sustain your pain if you don't understand how pain works. And they can cause or increase your pain enough to take you right to the edge. So what we're seeing here is that these thought viruses, thoughts and beliefs, they're very real nerve impulses in your brain, like I said. And they have a lot of power to them in terms of what they're going to create in your body. whether it be a symptom, emotions, how your life's going to be. So I really want you guys to start implementing, if you haven't yet, this positive beliefs and thinking, and that you write affirmations, you negate negative thoughts, you replace them with positive ones, so you can create what you want. I want you to focus on what you want, not what you don't want, okay, to heal. It's going to help you guys heal better. So hopefully you like these stories today. They're very real. They just happened recently, so I wanted to share them in the light of this positive thinking and the way we think. All right, guys, I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.